Hello and good morning. Welcome into the studio here at News Channel Nebraska. It is Thursday, March 7th, and officially day 2 of boys state basketball. Catch all the action right here on NCN. I'm your anchor, Andrew Pfeiffer, bringing you the latest headlines from around the state of Nebraska. Fewer people are quitting their jobs, and the federal government found the quit rate was 2.1% in January. That's the lowest reading since August of 2020. The report also showed hiring activity and the number of available jobs continue to ease from the record high levels reached during the pandemic recovery. Layoffs dipped too. The number of job openings will remain well above pre-pandemic averages, highlighting the continued strength of the labor market. An injury crash in Omaha leaves a homeowner dealing with some serious property damage on Wednesday. It happened around 10:30 in East Omaha Wednesday morning after the vehicle crashed into the home. A driver was transported to the hospital with injuries that were not considered life-threatening. The homeowner says the crash caused damage to the foundation of his home. No further details are available. We'll keep you up to date on further developments. After his heroic actions taken during the Kansas City Super Bowl parade in February, the man who tackled the shooter was honored with an award on Wednesday morning. Paul Contreras is an employee with the Metropolitan Utilities District and received the Distinguished Serve Award. The award was handed to Contreras for his actions during the horrific shooting in Kansas City that killed one person and wounded more than 20 others. Contreras was able to tackle a person with a gun and was heralded as a good Samaritan across Nebraska.
We can't thank you enough for your life-saving measures and dedication to public safety. Congratulations and thank you, Paul.
Contreras was able to hold the man before police arrived after he tackled the man with a gun. He is 24th employee to receive the highest honor for MUD since it was first awarded in 1978. One person is dead following a forklift accident in rural York County Tuesday night. It happened after authorities arrived near Benedict when it was determined a 24-year-old man died in a workplace accident. Authorities say the man was accidentally run over by a forklift and the victim was taken to a hospital before being flown to Lincoln, where he was pronounced dead. A Central Nebraska home was deemed a complete loss after a house fire Tuesday afternoon. It happened around 3:40 on Tuesday when crews responded to a call in Norman, which is about 30 miles southeast of Kearney. Authorities say a one-story home was a complete loss and no one was injured due to the fire. The cause of the fire was deemed to be accidental due to work being done inside the home. A lack of available water in the village had firefighters on scene for 3 hours. Former Panhandle police captain pleaded guilty to 2 felony charges on Tuesday. 52-year-old Brian Wasson was accused of stealing drugs and money from the Scottsbluff Police Department's evidence room. Wasson resigned in September of last year, and court documents say items were stolen between March and April of 2023. He is said to be sentenced in April for the felony charges. State troopers arrested a man in southeast Nebraska who was allegedly driving the wrong way. Happened at 10 o'clock Tuesday night when authorities say Camas Pite was traveling westbound in the eastbound lanes on Highway 2 near Nebraska City. After pursuing the man for a mile, Pite sped up and crossed the median 2 times before exiting on the highway onto a private driveway where he was later arrested. He's from Colorado and he was arrested on DUI, having a revoked license and open alcohol container. He was lodged into Otoe County Jail. Gage County officials honored a local Vietnam War veteran as part of a continuing program to highlight citizens who served their country. Louis Catu enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps in September of 1967. The sergeant was a wireman during the Vietnam War, earning 7 medals.
This is all possible because of the vets, giving us the freedom to do what we do. And I just appreciate the recognition. Everybody knows that war was a disaster, and some of the vets got treated pretty bad, so this is kind of coming full circle. And I know you guys are busy, so that's all I got to say, but I appreciate the recognition. Thank you very much for the honor. Catu
was honorably discharged from the military service in 1970. He He was honored by Gage County supervisors Wednesday and presented with a plaque and some gifts for his service and dedication to the nation. More than 1,000 homes in a central Nebraska city will be receiving lead service line replacement without a cost. In a news release on Wednesday, the city of Grand Island announced that approximately 3,000 homes throughout the city will receive lead service line replacements for free. The Grand Island Utilities Department is currently in the discovery stage of a project that will replace the lead service lines throughout the city over the next 10 years. The funding to support the project comes from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, distributed through the Nebraska Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Grant Program. Officials say the impacted property owners will receive a letter notifying them of the expanded project. With spring break approaching, Omaha Airfield is warning passengers, make sure you leave early for your flights. In a social media post, airport officials urge travelers to be sure to allow plenty of time for their flights with the limited availability of the parking garage. The airport says to arrive 2 hours before your flight, and they also encouraged everyone picking up arrivals to utilize the free cell phone waiting lots instead of the garages and paid lots. All the details are important as the airport continues the ongoing construction. Lincoln man is in custody after leading state troopers through Lincoln on Tuesday afternoon. It happened in West Lincoln on Highway 77 after authorities attempted to pull over a motorcyclist. The rider then fled eastbound and was tracked by an NSP helicopter after the trooper called off the pursuit. The rider was stopped around 45 minutes later and taken into custody without incident. He was identified as 19-year-old Jack Henry, and he was arrested on 5 charges, including willful reckless driving and driving with a revoked license. President Joe Biden will deliver his State of the Union address on Thursday. Biden will address a joint session of Congress at the U.S. Capitol at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. According to White House aides, this year's address aims to lay out an agenda that he can quickly take out on the campaign trail. Some of the items include protecting the Affordable Care Act, expanding efforts to relieve student debt and housing costs. The president is also expected to call on both Democrats and Republicans to take action on issues that they should be able to agree on. A few of those issues include tackling the fentanyl crisis, increasing assistance for veterans, addressing mental health, and finding a cure for cancer. As concern grows over the safety of air and rail travel in the United States, the chair of the National Transportation Safety Board testified before Congress Wednesday. Ivan Rodriguez breaks down the testimony and investigations, including the door plug blowout that happened in early January.
National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homendy testifying before the full Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation on the more than 1,000 active investigations the agency is conducting.
We owe it to the families of those involved, to the communities where events occurred, and to the traveling public to find out what happened.
Key among those investigations, the terrifying mid-air door plug blowout and emergency landing of a Boeing 737 MAX 9 flight. Homendy ripped into the airplane manufacturer for failing to produce key documents related to the incident.
There is one team that deals with the doors of 25 people. Why we don't have those names today, 2 months later, is really disappointing.
This just days after the FAA issued a report finding multiple problems with Boeing's production practices following a 6-week audit triggered by the door plug failure. While the company did not immediately respond to Homendy's testimony, CEO Dave Calhoun previously issued a statement promising a comprehensive action plan for improvements. During her testimony, Homendy also addressed recent runway incidents and the ongoing staff shortages at air traffic control. A government funding package currently making its way through Congress includes support for hiring new controllers.
Hiring is key. The FAA has set goals for hiring. What we're not talking about is the people who leave every year, which is about half.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Last month was the planet's hottest February on record. That marks the 9th month in a row that global records fell. That's according to new data from the Copernicus, the European Union's climate monitoring service. Officially, February was 1.77 degrees Celsius warmer than the average February pre-industrial times, and temperatures in the first half of February were labeled exponentially high. It also caps off the hottest 12-month period in recorded history at 1.56 Celsius degrees above industrial levels. The Copernicus, service said the fall of the temperature records isn't surprising given the continuous warming of the climate system. The effort to restrict global heating well below 2 degrees was the centerpiece of the Paris Agreement most countries signed on to in 2015. President Joe Biden announced he wanted to cap credit late fees to $8. This would close a loophole that allows credit card issues to jack up fees on borrowers who make late payments. Jen Sullivan has more about what the rules could mean and what critics are saying.
Most Americans use credit cards for purchases, but if you don't pay your credit card bill on time, those late fees can add up, leaving you with a much heftier bill, which is why President Joe Biden wants to change that.
You have to crack down on corporate gouging.
Speaking on a Dallas radio show Tuesday, the president explained why federal regulators are capping credit card late fees at $8 per late payment. The average right now is about $32.
Right now, you're going to win, and if you bounce a check or you pay a late fee for your on your credit card, you're paying $35, $40, $50. I changed it to paying $3, $5 because corporations are just ripping us off.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau estimates the new regulation will save individuals roughly $220 a year. So just how bad is credit card debt in the U.S.? Between October and December of 2023, credit card debt hit a high of $1.13 trillion, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. LendingTree looked at more than 350,000 credit reports and found the average unpaid balance was $6,864 at the end of last year. Biden says the new rule will help struggling families with the high cost of living, but some critics disagree. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce slammed the new rule and vowed to fight it, saying, quote, the agency's final credit card late fee rule punishes Americans who pay their credit card bill on time by forcing them to pay for those who don't. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The Nebraska legislature approved $15 million to improve the electrical capacity in rural Nebraska and Falls City strategic locations, making it its only ready applicant. Dan Swanson has more.
Economic developer Lucas Freschel says Nebraska cannot fully take advantage of Falls City's available workforce, its attractive industrial park, and its unique location as the convergence point for two major railroad lines without an investment in electrical infrastructure. The issue came to the forefront 15 years ago when Falls City was knocked out of contention for a state railroad improvement grant because a consultant noted that the southeast corner of Nebraska was nearing its electrical capacity.
And it hampers commercial, industrial, and residential life here in Falls City. It's just a function of our geographic location. So if you're going after economic development opportunities, they need access to power. Falls City doesn't have it.
State Senator Julie Slama got involved in 2022, and the state legislature approved funds. Slama said the Falls City Economic Development and Growth Enterprise had secured options on more than 1,000 acres situated next to both the Burlington Northern Santa Fe and Union Pacific rail lines. Freschel said the $15 million electrical upgrade will allow Falls City to capitalize on its proposed railroad campus.
So when we're trying to attract investment opportunities, we can say, hey, we got the workforce right here. They're just traveling, perhaps they're traveling to Kansas or Missouri or maybe neighboring Nemaha County for work. This is designed to bring in the investments to create more jobs for the future outlook, of the Falls City Industrial Park and a future industrial development.
Freschel said the lack of electrical capacity is holding Nebraska's railroad potential back and contributing to power outages.
For generations to come, this will take care of the issues that have hampered Falls City for just, your daily basic needs of electricity.
The deadline for Falls City to apply for the Site and Building Development Fund is March 18th. From Falls City, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel, Nebraska.
We have Joe Jordan on the latest updates with the Farm Bill when it comes to federal farm policy. Take a look.
The latest farm bill, still in the works on Capitol Hill, is expected to top the $1 trillion mark for the first time ever. In 2018, the Farm Bill's 10-year cost hit $867 billion. When all is said and done this year, the 2024 Farm Bill is ready to grow to $1.4 trillion, a 62% increase. In addition, the 2024 bill will be spent by and large on nutrition, $1.1 trillion for the SNAP program, what used to be known as food stamps. At the same time, a new survey finds those numbers largely lost on rural Nebraskans. According to the Nebraska Rural Poll, most of those questions said they are unfamiliar. That's right, unfamiliar with federal farm policy. Here are those numbers. 43% very unfamiliar. 23% somewhat unfamiliar. That's 66%, 2/3 in those unfamiliar categories. At the same time, when it comes to supporting a farm income safety net, the vast majority of those polled said they do. 43% somewhat in favor, 31% greatly in favor, only 9% oppose that safety net for farmers. And if you're wondering who knows most about these farm policies, according to the survey, it's, not surprisingly, farmers, especially older married farmers. In Omaha, Joe Jordan, News Channel, Nebraska.
Big money. The Mega Millions jackpot is up to $687 million for Friday's drawing. The lump sum cash would get you $332 million now. If a winner gets a ticket on Friday, it would make it the 6th largest prize ever awarded. The jackpot has been building since it was last won in early December. And that's all we'll have for our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in to News Channel Nebraska. I'm your anchor, Andrew Pfeiffer, saying so long and goodbye.